Welcome to In the Chute. I'm Brandon. He's Calen. This is where he gives me some subject to comment, pontificate, or philosophize on. So here we go. What do you got, Calen?
Everybody always tries to equate emotions to animals. And that's not to say animals don't have emotions. It's just, I think humans tend to have more emotion, right? We're more cognizant of what we do and what we feel. So the question is sometimes people ask, do stallions or studs, the male horse, do they know that they are the daddy to the colts, the fillies, the little ones when they're not really involved in their everyday life like they would mom, the mare? She's with them from, birth to until weaning. So that question is, do the stallions know that they're daddy?
God, that's a good question. Because there are some tales of, you know, stallions running with a herd and the colts are not his, so he'll kill them because they're not his.
Right.
I haven't seen that personally happen. I mean, we've had stallions breed mares, have the progeny, and at weaning time, put them with a older stallion that is still a breeding stallion, and it kind of babysits those
Mm-hmm.
weanlings, just an older one, and it gives him company in a confined or more of a corral situation, large area for him to live in. Not a paddock. I mean, we're talking a good sized corral to work in,
Right.
but the reaction from him to these colts has always been, just, hey, hi, little guy. Who are you? And you don't know for sure whether they know their offspring or not. It's I don't know. But I think it's largely driven by their temperament. This guy we had that was doing that a lot for us was just a really laid back, real gentle giant type of a stallion. And so he's pretty accepting of most everything. He's really a quiet guy. There are some that are pretty, pretty high strung. I've seen some stallions people have that are just knotheads. I mean, but that's not just to colts, it's to everything.
Right.
So we may be attributing some of that to them when we're misreading what they're really thinking and reacting to. So
And that kind of goes to what I was said at the beginning. Maybe we're putting more like human characteristics to an
anthropomorphize.
animal that's not really
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're anthropomorphizing things. And as far as emotions, um, I think they have the same range of emotions we do,
Right.
minus maybe jealousy, um, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's more basal emotion where they have fear. They have certainly the mare has a love for that baby. There's no doubt there.
Uh-huh.
But the stallion seems to be a little bit removed from that. Whether they know it or not, I really honestly couldn't tell you. I can look and go, oh yeah, I think there might be some recognition there, but who knows?
Right.
I really don't think that that's something that we can really measure because we're still going to read some bias into that, probably see what we think we want to see. But I've seen some stallions be really good to every colt, whether they're theirs or not.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
it's well, the same thing is, does the colt know who its father is?
right.
You know,
I
and
don't know.
your grandpa used to say, it takes a pretty smart animal to know who his daddy is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's true.
there's quite a delay from the time that seed was planted till the little sprout shows up. So
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think they
that's
necessarily
the thing
do.
though too. Like there's actually two things I want to cover with that. One, maybe breeding or the breed. We try to breed for more laid back horses, a
Yeah,
more docile temperament, so to speak. And and that's with a Tennessee Walker. If you get maybe a like an Egyptian Arab, maybe that might be a little bit different, where it's
right,
a hotter blood.
right.
But then the other question too, like the second part. So I'm saying breed or breeding, but then also potentially feral horses, not wild
Mhm,
horses, feral horses.
right,
Um, because the stallions are involved with the lifetime a little bit more so because they're always together.
right.
Maybe that's where that insight comes in of stallions coming out and trying to kill the not the calf, the colt or the filly, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep. No, I agree. And I think that is more likely a scenario because those horses tend to band those mares together and keep them together. But at times they also act like, especially the younger ones, they have bachelor herds. And
Right.
sometimes
Just
these
like
these
deer and
horses,
elk.
yeah. yeah, they'll just because a stallion breeds a mare in the spring, after, whether she's had a colt or not, and doesn't mean that they're going to stay in that band the whole time. Those horses may move between bands, or a mare escape, or some stallion, another stallion, come and steal that mare from a band, and then they have a colt in the next spring. Does that mean that that stallion is going to kill that colt? Probably not. I mean, they're still part of that
Right.
band. So there may be something that we don't know of, or I don't know of, that's been done with pheromones, whether or not, they know who they are. Oftentimes, and I think this happens somewhat in larger, the more feral herds, where the stallion doesn't necessarily breed his own offspring, a filly that's coming up, because I have watched animals where you're going to breed them and they do not, that mare is not accepting even when she's in heat. And
That's interesting. That's
yeah,
an interesting like natural way to check the genetic line.
right, exactly. And that's what I wonder about, because I've seen is they will not stand for this stallion. It ain't going to happen. And so is that a natural defense through pheromones, particularly, that stallion is rejected? 'Cause stallions are like 16-year-old boys. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They're gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna hey, get an opportunity. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been dependent on the mare to do that. Now that doesn't mean that they won't breed, be forced breeding, or that filly gives up, and then you start to get some inbreeding, or some issues from that. That sometimes, when it's that close, will ferret itself out in a non-viable animal later on, or one that's just, you know, inbred to where it's not going to live long, or some issue with it. So I think that also is a factor in there, that I don't know, pheromones onto the young ones to the stallion, or the stallion to the young ones, whether they really know who they are or not. It's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and especially because like horses have such a unique way of smelling things anyway, that long. Like you got a long nose. How can you not pick up extra things from like what we've got, you know?
Well, yeah, that's why I can't smell very well. I got a short nose, and I've burned it out on a lot of things. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Now when let's go back to the breeding part. Would you think that not necessarily like the breeding, like trying to breed out characteristics or anything like what we do or breed into, but maybe
Yeah,
more of the breed? What are kind of your thoughts on that one too? Because like I said, more like the hot, um, I guess the more up, more energetic.
yeah.
We
A
always
hot
say
a,
hot,
a hot
so
blood.
I'm trying to explain it to people who don't understand, like where,
Okay, yeah.
do you think they might be the ones that would be more aggressive towards a colt or something?
Possibly. Tend to be just a little bit more high strung, but I've seen some pretty laid back animals um, go after other animals too. So
Yeah.
I think it's more of an individual thing, because if I've been around some, even like you say, the Egyptian hot bloods would have a reputation of being pretty pretty hot, but that's a generalization. There's
Hmm.
been some, I've seen some Egyptian hot bloods that were just really laid back, sweet horses. So not that the, more wound up ones aren't, but you generalize things with breeds, and I've seen some pretty hot Tennessee Walkers as well.
Right.
So, it's a generalization. It's really individualized as well. So I think that um, it's hard to pluck out a for sure, this is what it is. You may find some of a tendency towards something, but um to actually nail down a definitive, yeah, this is the way it is, for a breed, because of a generalization of how they are, I don't know that you're kind of doing some double speculation there. You
Right.
speculate on a speculation. So it's hard to tell. And anybody who says, oh, this is really the way it is, unless they have some scientific fact to it, um, I have to kind of say, maybe, maybe not. You still don't know. And there may be some studies done with pheromones, and this very subject we're talking about, that I'm unaware of, which in the long term for us, would it matter?
Not at
Probably
all.
not. So it doesn't. It's just one of those things that's kind of collateral to what you do, and you wonder about, and kind of respond to. But this little stallion we've got, he's got his first progeny on the ground. He was 2 years old last year breeding mares, and so he's 3 this year. He's got these little guys and a couple little fillies on the ground. And it'll be interesting because I'm going to put him with them as babies when they're weaned to kind of keep him some company, and he will teach them a little bit how to drink out of a waterer, the handle ability when I show up. They come up to me, and they do that now anyway because of the imprinting. Like they come running down the hill yesterday. They saw I was in the corral, these 2 little farts, and it was kind of fun, and come down, want to get their ears scratched and talked to and let us know what they were doing. But he's a real laid back stallion. I'm not worried about him, whether it was somebody else's progeny or his. Would still do the same thing. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. That is an answer to who's your daddy in the horse world. So with that, we'll take that conversation and put it out to pasture.